Hello friends, so today's video is going to be a list of some anticipated fantasy book releases. I did another one of these that covered July and part of August, and then today I'm going to be covering August and part of September, and there's one book from July that I had meant to mention in the last one and then didn't get to. Typically when I do these, I go in order of release date. I'm going to stick to that format for most of the books on this list, but I'm actually going to start by just mentioning some sequels really quick, because for these ones, you're probably only really going to be anticipating them if you've already picked up the first one. And so this is more of a heads up, hey, these sequels to these books that you might have liked, they're coming out soon. So starting with the one for July that I'd meant to mention, on the 26th, we have The Master of Iron. This is the sequel to Blade of Secrets, and this is by Trisha Levenseller, who has very quickly become my go-to whenever I want something fun and fluffy and cute and heartwarming in my fantasy books. There's just something about the way she writes that I find to be very cozy and familiar, and it makes me feel nostalgic even though it's my first time reading the books. Master of Iron is the sequel to Blade of Secrets, and then therefore the conclusion of this duology. The first one follows two sisters, one of which is our main character, and she has an ability to make magical weapons. And there is somebody who wants her to make a weapon for them. However, after she makes the weapon, she realizes that this should not go to this person because they would use it for things that are not good. Sticking with sequels, at the end of August, we have the sequel to Amari and the Night Brothers. So this is a charming little middle grade story. My friend Jess from the channel, Jess Owens, absolutely loves that story. So if you're interested in more about it, check out Jess's channel. But we follow a young girl who her brother has gone missing. Her mom and her believe that maybe the worst has happened, but they still hold out hope that he's alive. And then one day Amari finds out that maybe there was something magical and fantastical that is surrounding her brother's disappearance, and she has the opportunity now to also explore this magical path. On that same day, we have another sequel, and that would be The Dragon's Promise. This is the sequel to Six Crimson Cranes, and while Six Crimson Cranes is technically young adult, I think it's great for somebody transitioning out of middle grade or a middle grade reader who maybe reads above their age range. And then, of course, like myself, adults who just enjoy reading various different age ranges. So the first one follows a girl who had a curse placed on her and her brothers. If she speaks, every word that she speaks will kill one of her six brothers. So now she cannot speak, and they have been turned into cranes. She's trying to figure out how she can lift this curse without speaking, without being able to tell anybody about it. After that, we have Defend the Dawn. This one comes out on the 13th of September. It is the sequel to Defy the Night by Bridget Kemmerer. This one I feel like kind of went under people's radar when it was released, and it follows two main perspectives. One is a girl who lives within a kingdom where there's definitely a lot of unfairness. There are a lot of people that are getting sick, and there's only so much of the medicine to go around, and it seems to be unfair as to who has access to the medicine. It definitely seems like the upper class has it more than the class that our main character is within. And so she does what she can to try and get medicine to those who need it. Our other main perspective is somebody who is this prince who everyone hates because they think that he is the reason why there's this discrepancy and this unfairness when it comes to this medicine, and you're finding out through him that there's more to it that you might expect, and you get the more political sides of things, and then their worlds kind of end up colliding. And then also on that same day, we have The Ballad of Never After, which is, I'm so excited for this one. The first one is so nonsensical and whimsical and charming and weird and funny, and it seems somewhat self-aware. The first one is, of course, Once Upon a Broken Heart, and that one was just, it was such a good time. It was so weird, and so I have been so looking forward to this sequel. The first one follows a girl who she believes fervently that her one true love has been cursed because all of a sudden he's going to marry her stepsister, and so she makes a deal with a being known as a fate to stop the wedding from happening. And how the fate decides to stop the wedding from happening is not what she expected, as he turns everyone into stone. That was in the wedding party, and she was like, that's not what I meant. And he's like, well, I did what you asked. And then so she ends up saving everybody, but then she herself turns to stone. And then when she is cured of this, she comes out of this, and suddenly everyone thinks she's a hero. They don't realize that she made this deal with this fate in the first place. They think that she just saved all these people from being turned to stone. And so this is gained her a lot of recognition and essentially some fame. And then as a result of this fame, she's now invited to this place, this wondrous storybook-like place. That was it for the sequel, so now backtracking and going to August again. On August 9th, we have The Art of the Prophecy, which first off, I just gotta say that this cover is incredible. I absolutely love the artwork, but the story sounds fantastic too. So it says, an epic fantasy ode to martial arts and magic, the story of a spoiled hero, an exacting grand master, and an immortal god king. It has been foretold a child will rise to defeat the eternal Khan, a cruel immortal god king, and save the kingdom. The hero, Xian, who has been raised since birth in luxury and splendor, celebrated before he has won a single battle. But the prophecy was wrong, because when Taishi, the greatest war artist of her generation, arrives to evaluate the prophesied hero, she finds a spoiled brat unprepared to face his destiny. But the only force more powerful than fate is Taishi herself. What follows is a journey more wondrous than any prophecy can foresee, a story of master and student, assassin and revolutionary, of fallen gods and broken prophecies, and of a war between kingdoms and love and friendship between deadly rivals. On the 23rd, we have the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, which is such a difficult title to say. But this one sounds very cozy. It says, a warm and uplifting novel about an isolated witch whose opportunity to embrace a quirky new family and a new love changes the course of her life. As one of the few witches in Britain, Mika Moon knows she has to hide her magic, keep her head down, and stay away from other witches so their powers don't mingle and draw attention. And as an orphan who lost her parents at a young age and was raised by strangers, she's used to being alone and she follows the rules, with one exception, an online account where she posts videos pretending to be a witch. She thinks no one will take it seriously, but someone does. An unexpected message arrives, begging her to travel to the remote and mysterious Nowhere house to teach 3 young witches how to control their magic. It breaks all of the rules, but Mika goes anyway and is immediately tangled up in the lives and secrets of not only her 3 charges, but also an absent archaeologist, a retired actor, 2 long-suffering caretakers, and Jamie, the handsome and prickly librarian of Nowhere House, would do anything to protect the children, and as far as he's concerned, a stranger like Mika is a threat. An irritating, appealing threat. As Mika begins to find her place at Nowhere House, the thought of belonging somewhere begins to feel like a real possibility. But magic isn't the only danger in the world, and when a threat comes knocking at their door, Mika will need to decide whether to risk everything to protect a found family she didn't know she was looking for. That seems like it's going to be somewhat like House in the Cerulean Sea, Under the Whispering Door, and I don't always like those kinds of books that are almost syrupy sweet, but sometimes I do, it depends. So I'm excited to see what I end up thinking of that one. After that, we have Belladonna. This says it's a gothic-infused world of wealth, desire, and betrayal. Our main character is an orphan, and she's been raised by a string of guardians, each more interested in her wealth than her well-being, and each has met an untimely end. Her remaining relatives are the elusive Hawthorns, an eccentric family living at Thorn Grove, an estate both glittering and gloomy. Its patriarch mourns his late wife through wild parties, while his son grapples for control of the family's waning reputation, and his daughter suffers from a mysterious illness. But when their mother's restless spirit appears claiming she was poisoned, our main character realizes that the family she depends on could be in grave danger and enlists the help of a surly stable boy to hunt down the killer. After that, we have the undertaking of Heart and Mercy. It says Heart is a marshal tasked with patrolling the strange and magical wilds of Tanria. It's an unforgiving job, and Heart's got nothing but time to ponder his loneliness. Mercy never has a moment to herself. She's been single-handedly keeping Birdsall and Son, undertakers, afloat in defiance of sullen jerks like Heart, who seem to have a gift for showing up right when her patience is thinnest. After yet another exasperating run-in with Mercy, Heart finds himself penning a letter addressed simply to a friend. Much to his surprise, an anonymous letter comes back in return and a tentative friendship is born. If only he knew he's been bearing his soul to the person who irritates him most, Mercy. As the dangers from Tanria grow closer, so do the unlikely correspondence. But can their blossoming romance survive the fated discovery that their pen pals are their worst nightmares, each other? That one sounds very cute, so excited about that one. After that, we have The Liar's Crown. All of those were scheduled for the 23rd. This one is the first scheduled for the 30th of August, and it says, one born to rule, one to forfeit. Everything about my life is a lie. As a hidden twin princess born second, I have only one purpose, to sacrifice my life for my sister if death comes for her. I've been living under the guise of a poor, obscure girl of no standing, slipping into the palace and into the role of the true princess when danger is present. Now the queen is dead and the ageless king has sent my sister a gift, an eerily familiar gift, and a proposal to wed. I don't trust him, so I do what I was born to do and secretly take her place on the eve of the coronation, which is why when a figure made of shadow kidnaps the new queen, he gets me by mistake. As I try to escape, all the lies start to unravel, and not just my lies. The shadow wraith who took me has secrets of his own. After that, we have a book that I had previously mentioned, and it would seem that at some point either there was the wrong date listed or the projected release date changed. But either way, that would be The Spear That Cuts Through Water. And this one says, 2 warriors, shepherds, an ancient god across a broken land to end the tyrannical reign of a royal family in this new epic fantasy. It does sound great. I've tried to look into it a little bit more to figure out the age range and things like that, because the cover itself looks a little bit younger, but the story sounds like it's gonna be adult fantasy, and I can't quite pinpoint, but regardless, I'm very excited. It says it's by the same author as The Vanished Birds, which I've not read, so if you've read that one, feel free to let me know your thoughts. And then last for today, scheduled for the 15th, is Notorious Sorcerer, the 15th of September. This one says, since the city of Bazim was shaken half into the sea by a magical earthquake, the Inquisitors have policed alchemy with brutal efficiency. Nothing too powerful, too complicated, too much like real magic is allowed, and the careful science that's left is kept too expensive for any but the rich and indolent to tinker with. Scion Velo, a glorified errand boy from a little interplanar fetch and carry, doesn't qualify. But when Scion accidentally commits a public act of impossible magic, he's catapulted into the limelight. Except the limelight isn't a bad place to be when the planes themselves start lurching out of alignment, threatening to send the rest of the city into the sea. I'm so excited for that one. It sounds so cool. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm totally off, but it's giving me Shades of Magic vibes, and I definitely would like that. I would be interested in something that's got sort of a Shades of Magic feel. I don't know. It sounds really cool, and I don't know how the alchemy is going to play a role in the story. It sounds very unique. I'm excited. I'm really excited for that one. That might be one of my most anticipated. But either way, I'm excited for all of these. The problem, I talked about a lot of anticipated releases for August and July in my last video. I'll have that linked if you'd like to see that one too. The problem is there's so many books that sound so good in August and just in general these last few months and these upcoming months. That's like, I have other things I need to read, but these all sound so incredible. Of the ones I mentioned, which one are you the most excited for? What sequel are you the most excited for? And then what new to you book are you the most excited for? And if there's any that I didn't mention in this video and the previous one, feel free to leave those in the comments down below. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you are wanting to check any of these out, I'll have pre-order links in the description bar down below. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you all later. Bye.